The air hung thick and heavy, smelling of ozone and the strange, metallic tang of alien rain. Heavy drops, fat as ball bearings, hammered against the reinforced canopy of the observation post. Commander Rikul's primary vocal sac pulsed, a deep, guttural warning vibrating through the comms. "Human! Do not approach the designated zone. I repeat, do not approach the zone." His 6 eyes, usually calm and analytical, were wide with an unfamiliar, profound terror. It is a Class A threat, the galaxy's deadliest predator, an apex hunter. Anything living that enters its perception field does not leave. But Kai, the human, merely tilted their head, a faint, almost imperceptible smile touching their lips. The rain-streaked view screen showed the creature. Obsidian scales, each glinting with a predatory sheen, covered a frame built for lethal speed and devastating power. Its eyes, burning like twin suns, tracked every movement, every shadow. Claws, long and hooked, looked capable of shearing through reinforced durasteel. It was magnificent, and it was exactly what Rickel described, a nightmare given form. "Are you even listening, human?" Rickel's voice was strained, frantic. "Its biosignatures are spiking. It's preparing to hunt." Kai didn't respond, their gaze fixed. A flicker of something, curiosity perhaps, or an utterly baffling lack of self-preservation, sparkled in their eyes. They stepped out of the post's airlock, the humid, ozone-laced air immediately clinging to their environmental suit. The heavy drops of alien rain lashed against their visor, but Kai didn't flinch. Their boots crunched softly on the peculiar phosphorescent fungi that carpeted the forest floor. The creature shifted. A low growl, like grinding tectonic plates, vibrated through the ground. It straightened, revealing its full, terrifying height, easily 3 times Kai's. Its head, adorned with sharp, chitinous spikes, lowered. The burning eyes narrowed, locking onto the lone human. Raquel was practically screaming into Kai's comms now, his warnings dissolving into desperate, panicked pleas. Kai took another step, then another. Slowly, deliberately, their hand, gloved, began to lift. The creature tensed, every muscle coiling, a dark, primal engine of destruction. Its razor claws scraped the ground. Then Kai's hand reached out, not aggressively, not defensively, but with an open, almost gentle invitation. A full minute crawled by, feeling like an eternity. The creature remained motionless, its burning gaze unwavering. The rain continued its relentless assault. Then, with a soundless grace that belied its immense bulk, it lowered its head, sniffing the strange, vulnerable hand offered to it. 10 minutes later, the comms from Raquel were silent, replaced by a low, rhythmic rumble that wasn't the alien rain. From the observation post, Raquel watched, 6 eyes bulging in absolute horror, as the galaxy's deadliest predator, the Class A threat, lay curled in an impossible ball on Kai's lap, its immense head nestled against the human's chest, a deep, contented purr emanating from its terrifying frame. Some truths are universal, others are just human, and terrifyingly unexpected. The sound was impossible. A deep, resonant thrumming, a vibration that shook the very ground beneath Kai's boots, yet somehow emanated from the massive, scaled beast now impossibly curled in their lap. Commander Rikul's frantic voice, still crackling through the comms, was barely a whisper now, utterly devoid of its usual authority. "Human, what is happening?" Kai barely registered Raquel. All their attention was on the creature. The same obsidian scales that had promised lethal power now felt surprisingly smooth, almost warm, beneath their gloved hand. The burning eyes, once twin suns of predatory intent, were half-lidded, glazed with a serene contentment. The purr, that deep, magnificent rumble, vibrated not just through Kai's body, but seemed to resonate directly with their very bones. It was a faint, rhythmic tremor, like a second, enormous heart beating in sync with their own. Raquel, back in the observation post, watched, 6 eyes glued to the screen. He saw Kai lean back against the peculiar, bioluminescent tree, their posture relaxed, one hand idly stroking the monster's head, the other resting near its massive shoulder. The beast, A creature that had eviscerated entire scouting parties, that shattered reinforced habitats with a single swipe, shifted slightly, burrowing deeper into Kai's lap with a soft, almost kitten-like sigh. The metallic scent of the alien rain, now a gentle drizzle, mixed with a new aroma, a musky, strangely comforting scent from the creature itself. "It's purring," Kai finally murmured into their calm. Their voice was soft, awed, completely out of place given the context. "Purring?" Reckles screeched, his vocal sacs flaring in disbelief. "Human, that is a Class A, Galaxy-designated apex predator. It doesn't purr. It dismembers, it devours, it pulverizes. Are you suffering from neural dissociation?" Kai chuckled, a low, warm sound. The creature's head twitched, and its purr deepened, a tiny rumble of acknowledgement. "Guess it just needed a good scratch behind the ears, Reckle. And maybe a nap." They paused, then added, almost as an afterthought, "Oh, and its scales are surprisingly soft around its tummy. It really likes tummy rubs." Reckles stared, utterly flummoxed. His species' entire galactic security protocol, built on millennia of interspecies interaction and threat assessment, was crumbling before his very eyes. Humans, so often dismissed as fragile, reckless, and utterly illogical. Yet here one was, not just surviving but domesticating the untamable. In that moment, Kai felt a curious mix of danger and profound peace. The sheer, overwhelming power of the creature, a potential destroyer of worlds, was undeniable, but so was the soft, trusting weight in their lap. The galaxy had its monsters, its designated threats, but sometimes what looked like a monster just wanted a friend. And humans, it turned out, were strangely good at finding them. The uneasy silence in Commander Rookle's observation post was shattered by a dry, raspy cough. His vocal sacs were strained, his entire physiology reeling from the impossible sight before him. Kai, the human, still sat beneath the alien sky, the galaxy's most feared predator, a contented, purring weight in their lap. But the beast shifted. Not violently, not with aggression, but with a subtle, almost imperceptible twitch of its massive, scaled head. A low rumble, distinct from its earlier purr, vibrated through the air. Rickles' 6 eyes snapped wide. "Human! Its muscle contractions are increasing. Its internal temperature is rising. It's preparing to move. Get away from it now." His voice was a raw, terrified plea, devoid of all protocol. Every sensor reading, every historical database entry screamed danger. Kai didn't move. Their hand, still resting on the creature's broad, obsidian-scaled flank, felt the subtle ripple beneath its surface. It wasn't the tension of an impending attack. It was a restless energy, a shifting texture of unspoken need. The burning eyes of the creature, no longer half-lidded, met Kai's own. There was an intelligence there, a flicker of something beyond pure instinct, a deep, inquisitive gaze. It nudged its massive head gently against Kai's arm, a soft, almost plaintive whine, escaping its throat. It was the sound of a question, not a threat. "It's okay, big guy," Kai murmured, their voice a calming counterpoint to Reckles' rising panic. They noted the creature's tail, usually a whip of death, now swaying with a slow, almost lazy rhythm. The creature wasn't preparing to hunt. It was bored. Or perhaps it wanted to play. With a move that made Reckle gasp into the comms, Kai gently pushed the creature's enormous head up. "Come on, let's get up!" The beast uncurled with surprising grace, rising to its full, imposing height. It stretched, a deep, rumbling yawn revealing rows of dagger-like teeth that made Reckle feel faint. Then, to Reckles' utter horror, it nudged Kai with its nose, a clear invitation. Kai grinned. "You want to chase the light, don't you?" From a pocket in their suit, Kai pulled out a small, emergency beacon, its laser pointer a tiny red dot against the phosphorescent fungi. They flicked it on, casting the dot across the forest floor. The predator's burning eyes immediately locked onto it, a low growl of pure, focused interest replacing its earlier purr. Then, with an agility that defied its size, it pounced. Not on Kai, but on the dancing red light. Reckle watched, utterly bewildered, as the galaxy's deadliest predator chased a tiny red laser dot like a house cat, its immense purr echoing through the forest. It was a truth both baffling and undeniable. Sometimes, the greatest dangers just needed someone to see past the fangs and claws and recognize the spark of life within. The air thrummed, not with danger, but with pure, unadulterated excitement. The galaxy's deadliest predator, a creature of legend and terror, was now a blur of obsidian scales and raw kinetic energy, hurtling after a tiny red dot. Kai, the human, merely stood there, laser pointer held steady, a quiet smile playing on their lips. The sheer absurdity of it all was breathtaking. From the observation post, Commander Rokul was speechless, 6 eyes flickering between the human and the Dinin monster, as if his optical sensors were malfunctioning. The creature's movements were incredible. Each pounce shook the ground, a miniature tremor rippling through the phosphorescent fungi. Its massive claws, capable of tearing metal, would deftly swipe at the fleeting red light, a low, focused growl rumbling in its chest. Its burning eyes, usually fixed on prey, were now completely captivated by the small, elusive speck. For it, this was a novel sensation, a challenge unlike any it had ever encountered. It wasn't about the hunt for sustenance, but the thrill of the chase, the intoxicating dance with a light it could never quite grasp. It was the taste of pure, unadulterated curiosity in a world that had only known the shadows of instinct and predation. "It's playing," Rokul finally managed, the word sounding foreign, alien, on his multi-jointed tongue. He watched as the creature, in a fit of playful frustration, nudged its enormous head against Kai's leg, letting out a soft, huffing sound. Kai responded by moving the dot up the creature's back, eliciting a full-body wiggle and another joyful pounce. Kai felt the creature's immense power, not as a threat, but as boundless energy. Its scales, cool and smooth where they brushed against their suit, vibrated with its purr growls. There was a raw, primal joy radiating from the beast, a sensation Kai hadn't expected from something so feared. It was like watching a particularly large, very enthusiastic house cat. Only this one could probably level a small building. "Yeah, Rokul," Kai chuckled, moving the dot across a nearby tree, watching the creature scramble up the trunk with impossible speed, its claws digging in with minimal effort. "Looks like someone needed a little stimulation. You guys just kept calling it a monster, never bothered to offer it a ball of yarn." The creature, unable to catch the light, looked back at Kai with a look of pure, innocent confusion, a whine escaping its throat. Kai lowered the laser pointer, letting the red dot settle on the creature's nose. It sniffed, then licked at the light, its massive tongue rasping against its own snout, before letting out a soft chuff. It settled down then, pressing its head gently into Kai's side, its purr rumbling to life once more. Sometimes, the most dangerous things in the universe just need to be seen, not for what they're called, but for what they truly are. And sometimes, what they truly are is just a big, lonely creature wanting to play. The colossal beast, only moments ago a whirl of playful energy, chasing a laser dot, had finally settled. Its immense head rested gently on Kai's lap, the rhythmic purr a deep, comforting vibration against the human's legs. Commander Rokul, back in the safety of the observation post, watched, still processing. His primary sensor readouts confirmed it. The predator was exhibiting signs of extreme contentment. Yet, as Kai idly stroked the smooth, dark scales, a subtle shift occurred. The purr faltered, a low whine escaping the creature's throat. A sound not of distress, but of something akin to yearning. Kai felt it. The change in the creature's breathing, the slight tension in the muscles beneath their hand. It wasn't hungry, not aggressive, but there was an underlying restlessness, a deep-seated need that hadn't been met by play alone. Its burning eyes, usually so alert, blinked slowly, heavily, as if fighting off an urge. It was exhausted, perhaps, but unable to fully relax in this new, bewildering state of comfort. The alien rain had stopped, replaced by the soft drip of water from bioluminescent leaves, a natural rhythm that seemed to highlight the creature's subtle unease. "It's making a mournful sound," Rokul reported, his voice still edged with confusion. Analysis suggests a low-frequency vocalization common in juvenile pack animals seeking parental comfort. This is impossible. It's a solitary hunter. Kai ignored Rokel's frantic analysis. Instead, an ancient, almost forgotten instinct stirred within them. They remembered a time, long ago, sitting with their grandmother, listening to the soft, tuneless hum that always seemed to bring a strange, deep peace. Without conscious thought, Kai began to hum. It was a simple melody, a low, wordless tune that carried no meaning, only a quiet, resonant vibration. It wasn't loud, just enough to be felt through the creature's thick skull where Kai's fingers rested. The beast's massive form tensed for a moment, its ears, hidden beneath folds of scales, twitching. Then, slowly, incredibly, the yearning whine faded. The burning eyes closed. The deep, guttural purr deepened, becoming steadier, more profound. It was a sound that seemed to mimic the very lullaby Kai was humming, a raw, primal response to an unexpected comfort. The tension drained from its colossal frame, leaving only the soft, heavy weight of a creature finally at peace. Rekel watched, utterly bewildered, as the galaxy's most dangerous predator, the very embodiment of terror, finally succumbed to sleep, its soft snuffles echoing faintly through the comms. All because a human decided to hum a lullaby. Sometimes, the universe's greatest threats aren't so different from its smallest, and a human heart, with its strange ancient melodies, can calm even the wildest of beasts. The silence that fell after Kai's soft humming was different. It wasn't the tense, terrified hush from before, but a deep, resonant stillness, broken only by the soft, steady snuffles of the sleeping behemoth. The galaxy's deadliest predator, a creature whose very name inspired dread, was now a colossal, purring shadow, its massive head, a heavy, strangely comforting weight in Kai's lap. From the observation post, Commander Rekel watched, utterly paralyzed. His multi-jointed fingers hovered over the emergency alert console. Useless. How could he report this? How could he possibly explain? Kai felt the crushing weight of the creature. Not just its physical mass, though that was considerable, pressing their legs deep into the bioluminescent fungi. It was the weight of an impossible secret, a truth so absurd, so utterly defiant of galactic understanding, that it could unravel entire systems of classification and threat assessment. The smooth, obsidian scales beneath their fingers were warm, radiating a gentle heat that permeated their environmental suit. Each breath the beast took was a slow, deep rumble, a soft tremor against Kai's chest. The air, no longer smelling of ozone and metallic rain, now carried the faint, earthy scent of the slumbering giant, mingled with the sweet, humid aroma of the alien flora. "Human, what have you done?" Rekel's voice, when it finally came, was strained, barely audible over the comms. It wasn't a question of accusation, but of profound bewilderment, an almost philosophical despair. Our entire understanding, every protocol, this is impossible. Kai looked down at the peaceful face nestled against their leg. The formidable fangs were hidden, the burning eyes closed in contented sleep. There was an innocence there, a vulnerability that no one, least of all the galactic scientific community, had ever bothered to look for. This was not a monster. Not entirely. And the sheer, terrifying audacity of that realization settled deep within Kai's bones. They had crossed a line, yes, ignored every warning, defied every expectation, but in doing so, they had stumbled upon a truth that the galaxy, in its sterile, data-driven wisdom, had missed. This creature, a symbol of primal danger, was just lonely. And Kai, with their simple human touch, their quiet hum, had offered it a moment of connection. I think I just made a friend, Rekel," Kai murmured, their voice raw with emotion. The weight of that friendship, forged in defiance and empathy, felt heavier, more precious, and infinitely more dangerous than any known predator. The universe, they realized, wasn't just about what was known, what was categorized, what was feared. It was also about the silent, crushing weight of secrets shared between a human and a monster, secrets that could change everything. The soft snuffles of the sleeping behemoth were suddenly, violently interrupted. A piercing, guttural shriek tore through the humid air, followed by a ground-shaking thump that rattled Kai's teeth. The galaxy's deadliest predator, until this moment a docile, purring weight in Kai's lap, jolted awake. Its obsidian scales bristled, every muscle coiling instantly. The immense head snapped up, those burning eyes now wide, wild, and radiating an intensity that made the earlier predatory glint seem like a friendly wink. Kai felt the sudden, crushing weight of the creature lift, replaced by an even more terrifying sensation, the bitter metallic taste of adrenaline flooding their mouth. It wasn't just fear for themselves. It was a primal surge of something else, a protective instinct. The creature didn't bolt. Instead, with a low, rumbling growl that vibrated through Kai's very bones, it rose, turning its massive, scaled body to shield the human, its head swiveling, scanning the darkened forest with terrifying speed. From the observation post, Commander Reckles screamed into the comms, his voice a frantic, multi-limbed jumble of terror. "Incoming! Class B threat detected! Mass signature increasing rapidly. It's hunting your creature, human. Get out of there, now!" Kai's gaze followed the monster's focus. Through the gloom of the bioluminescent forest, another set of burning eyes emerged, larger, more numerous, glittering with an alien malevolence that made the pet seem almost gentle by comparison. This new arrival was a twisted mass of segmented limbs and chittering mandibles, its carapace a dull, mottled green, blending perfectly with the alien foliage. It was everything Reichel had ever warned them about. A true nightmare. The adopted monster, now fully awake and radiating raw, untamed power, let out a deafening roar. It was a sound that vibrated not just through the air, but through time itself, a challenge, a primal declaration of territory and possession. Its razor claws, once content to chase a red dot, now flexed, scraping the ground with an ominous tarnished shink. It was no longer a purring companion. It was the apex predator Roos Prockel had described. But now, its fury was directed dusk away from Kai, towards the encroaching threat. Kai felt the surge of terror, yes, a cold, clinical dread that made their heart hammer against their ribs. But beneath it, a strange, defiant spark ignited. Their monster, their friend. And something deep within Kai's human core screamed that nobody, no matter how terrifying, was going to hurt what was theirs. Sometimes, the greatest fear isn't of the monster you know, but the one you don't. And sometimes, humanity's only choice is to stand their ground, even when their protector is a beast. The air crackled, not just with the residual ozone from the earlier rain, but with raw, untamed aggression. The new threat, a segmented horror of chittering mandibles and multiple, glowing red eyes, scuttled closer. Its presence brought a frigid blast of pure malice, a stark contrast to the rough but warm comfort of Kai's own behemoth. Kai's adopted monster, all obsidian scales and coiled power, stood like a living shield, its rumbling growl, a deep vibration against the ground, a clear challenge. Its own burning eyes, once filled with playful curiosity, now blazed with a fierce, protective fire. Commander Reckles' frantic whispers turned to gasps in the comms. Its biosignatures, they're escalating. The Class B is highly aggressive, territorial. It sees your pet as a rival for resources, human? A rival or prey? He choked on the last word. Kai, pressed against the massive flank of their adopted friend, felt the raw power emanating from it. The new creature, a true nightmare of chitin and venom, mirrored every description Reichel had ever given of the galaxy's deadliest predator. Its movements were jerky, unnatural, a grotesque dance of predatory intent. Its many eyes glinted with cold, unthinking hunger. It was the monster everyone expected. It was the monstrous reflection of what their own companion could have been. Had Kai not approached, not hummed, not played, the first monster, Kai's monster, let out another earth-shattering roar, a sound that seemed to rip through the very fabric of reality. It wasn't just a sound of aggression. It was a defiant bellow, a warning. This is mine, and you will not touch it. It shifted, its massive tail lashing, stirring up phosphorescent dust from the forest floor. The scales rippled with power. For the first time, Kai truly saw the deadliest predator Rico had described. But now, it was fighting for them. This monster was their monster, and its ferocity, once terrifying, was now a source of unexpected awe. The chitinous new arrival paused, its multifaceted eyes attempting to process the impossible. An apex predator, a creature of legend, actively defending a fragile, squishy human. It chittered, a sound of confusion, then rage. It didn't understand loyalty. It only understood the primal calculus of domination. Kai knew this was it, the moment of truth. Either their improbable bond held, or it shattered. The ground vibrated with the heavy thuds of two titans preparing to clash. And Kai, the tiny human, found themselves utterly, irrevocably committed to the monstrous protector they had so foolishly, so humanly befriended. Sometimes the universe throws a mirror in your face, showing you the true monsters. And sometimes it shows you that a monster's reflection isn't always what you expect. The air itself seemed to shudder, charged not just with residual ozone, but with the raw, primal energy of a coming storm. The new horror, all chitin and hungry eyes, scuttled another agonizing meter closer. Kai's adopted monster, its obsidian scales bristling like a shield, responded with a low, guttural growl that wasn't just audible, but felt. It was a deep, resonant hum that vibrated through the very ground, up through Kai's boots and into their core. It wasn't the contented purr from before, but a warning, a rumble of pure, focused intent. Commander Rico's voice, a raw, strangled sound through the comms, was barely coherent. Human, it's baiting. The Class B is highly intelligent, it's provoking, its biosignatures are flaring. Your FET is about to engage. Get clear. Evacuate now. But the words were distant, muffled by the internal thrumming that resonated from the massive creature pressed against Kai's back. Kai leaned into the solid warmth of their companion. The hum was relentless, a living tremor that filled their senses, a constant reminder of the immense, protective power, coiled just inches away. They could feel the shifting of colossal muscles, the subtle tensing of scales, as the beast braced itself. The air grew thick, heavy with the metallic tang of fear and ozone, but also with an unexpected undercurrent of fierce, possessive loyalty emanating from their monster. The phosphorescent fungi beneath their feet pulsed rhythmically, mirroring the silent, furious heartbeat of the giant. The segmented threat finally stopped, its many red eyes glowing malevolently in the dim light. It let out a chittering shriek, a sound designed to terrify, to demoralize. It was cold, predatory, utterly devoid of any warmth. But Kai's monster didn't flinch. Instead, its low hum intensified, vibrating through the ground like a subterranean engine, a deep thrumming that pushed back against the invading chill. This was a battle for more than territory. It was a clash of two different kinds of primal force. One, pure, unthinking destruction. The other, an unexpected, fiercely protective bond. Kai looked up, past the massive, scaled flank, to see their monster's head turn, its burning eyes briefly meeting theirs. There was a spark there, a flash of understanding, a silent promise, and then, with a thunderous roar that shattered the humid air, the galaxy's deadliest predator charged. Sometimes, the loudest warnings aren't about the dangers that threaten you, but about the unexpected strength you find in the most unlikely of allies. The forest erupted. A blur of obsidian scales and raw power, Kai's adopted monster launched itself, its earth-shattering roar tearing through the humid air. The new threat, the segmented Class B horror, met the charge with a piercing shriek and a flurry of chitinous limbs. The impact was deafening, a sound of grinding plates and rending flesh that vibrated up through the very bedrock, slamming into Kai's chest like a physical blow. The air filled with alien screeches, the metallic tang of fresh blood, and a spray of phosphorescent fungi as both beasts tore at each other. Commander Rico's voice was a mangled, desperate wail in the comms. "Human, get down! Take cover! It's too dangerous! This is beyond any protocol! Move! Now!" But Kai couldn't move. Every fiber of their being was locked onto the brutal, terrifying spectacle. They felt the vibrations of colossal blows, the earth shuddering beneath their feet. Flashes of glowing red eyes and burning yellow met in the gloom, a chaotic dance of primal fury. The sheer force of the battle was unimaginable, a storm of instinct and tooth and claw. Kai tasted bitter adrenaline, their heart a frantic drumbeat against their ribs. The easy comfort of the purring beast was gone, replaced by the unbearable gravity of an impossible choice: flee to safety, or stand by the creature that had, against all odds, chosen to protect them. The Class B threat was vicious, its segmented body capable of impossible contortions, its multiple mandibles snapping with lethal precision. But Kai's monster fought with something more than just instinct. It fought with a fierce, possessive rage, a roaring defiance born of an unexpected bond. Each swipe of its colossal claw seemed fueled by a silent promise, made in the quiet hum of a lullaby. It moved with a brutal, elegant efficiency, every strike calculated, every defensive maneuver precise. This was the apex predator Kai had been warned about. Unleashed, but unleashed for them. A final, gut-wrenching screech ripped through the air as Kai's monster, with a thunderous crack, severed a major limb from its opponent. The Class B threat collapsed, a twitching, chittering heap, its glowing eyes fading into dead embers. Silence descended, heavy and absolute, broken only by the panting, labored breaths of Kai's protector. Then, slowly, the colossal beast turned. Its burning eyes, still wild with the remnants of battle, fixed on Kai. It let out a soft, deep rumble, a sound that was no longer a purr, but a question. And Kai, heart still hammering, felt the unbearable weight of their choice lift, replaced by a profound, raw understanding. Some choices aren't about right or wrong, but about staying, about seeing the connection through the chaos. And sometimes, choosing the monster is the most human thing you can do. The sudden silence was more jarring than the battle itself. The last, desperate chittering of the fallen Class B threat faded, leaving only the labored, heaving breaths of Kai's monster. The air, thick with the metallic scent of alien blood and ozone, pressed in. Commander Rico's comm channel, which had been a torrent of frantic warnings, was now a dead, echoing void. It was the cold, deafening silence between stars, the kind that swallows sound and reality whole. Kai stood rooted, their own breathing ragged, tasting the bitter tang of adrenaline and iron on their tongue. The vibrations from the colossal struggle had finally ceased, leaving their body humming with residual shock. Slowly, the immense form of their adopted protector turned. Its obsidian scales, still bristling, were streaked with viscous, bioluminescent ichor from its defeated foe. The burning eyes, once wild with battle fury, now softened, seeking out Kai's gaze. There was a low rumble in its chest, not a purr, not a growl, but a sound of exhaustion and something else. A question, perhaps, or a plea for acknowledgement. From the observation post, Raquel finally managed a sound, a dry, multi-jointed click of disbelief. "It had won," he whispered, his vocal sacs deflating. "The Class A. Your Class A. It defeated a Class B alone. And it defended you." His voice was laced with a dawning, terrifying comprehension, his entire worldview shattering around him. The cold, analytical data of Galactic Threat Assessment was now a heap of shattered assumptions, much like the fallen alien horror on the forest floor. Kai took a hesitant step forward, their environmental suit crunching softly on the crushed phosphorescent fungi. The monster lowered its massive head, nudging gently against Kai's shoulder, a rumbling sigh escaping its chest. The residual heat radiating from its body was immense, a primal furnace of power and loyalty. Kai reached out, a gloved hand resting against its blood-streaked scales, feeling the slow, powerful beat of its heart. The silence was profound, stretching out across the vast, alien landscape, punctuated only by their shared breaths. This wasn't just a moment of survival. This was a crossroads. Kai had seen the galaxy's deadliest predator not as a monster, but as a friend. And that friend, in turn, had chosen to protect them, defying every classification, every warning. The universe suddenly felt larger, more unpredictable, and infinitely more complicated than before. The cold, deafening silence between stars held not just the void, but the untold possibilities of what humanity could achieve when it simply refused to accept the galaxy's rules. Sometimes, the loudest statements are made in the quietest moments, shattering not just sound but every preconceived notion of what is possible. The last, desperate shudder from the defeated Class B threat finally died, leaving an eerie stillness that tasted of victory and ozone. The massive form of Kai's protector, its obsidian scales gleaming with the ichor of battle, stood over the fallen foe. Then, slowly, it turned towards Kai. Its burning eyes, no longer wild with primal rage, now held a deep, steady warmth, a blinding, radiant light that seemed to pierce through the gloom of the bioluminescent forest, illuminating not just the alien flora, but Kai's very soul. Commander Rokel's voice crackled through the comms, a raw, broken sound, utterly devoid of his usual detached professionalism. It lives, and it seeks you, human. Its biosignatures indicate a profound state of what appears to be loyalty. This is unprecedented, uncategorizable. His multi-jointed fingers, Kai knew, were likely trembling. The Galactic rulebook had just been set on fire. Kai felt it too, that radiant warmth emanating from the beast. It wasn't just physical heat, but an emotional surge, a feeling of deep, unwavering connection. The metallic tang of adrenaline began to recede, replaced by a profound sense of awe and a strange, quiet triumph. They took a hesitant step, then another, approaching the towering form. The monster lowered its head, nudging its massive snout gently against Kai's chest, a low, rumbling purr starting deep in its throat. This wasn't the tentative purr of a creature seeking comfort. It was the confident, resonant thrum of a guardian, a friend, a force of nature choosing to be gentle. Kai reached up, their gloved hand coming to rest on its battle-scarred cheek. The scales, still cool from the alien night air despite the recent exertion, felt surprisingly soft. The burning eyes closed partially, a deep sigh escaping its formidable jaws. This creature, the galaxy's deadliest predator, had fought and won, not for survival alone, but for a bond. It was an impossible truth, shattering the universe's carefully constructed boxes of fear and danger. "You did good, big guy," Kai whispered, the words heartfelt, raw with emotion. The creature's purr deepened in response, a vibration that shook Kai's entire body, a warm, resonant hum that felt like a new sun rising within their very core. This wasn't just a pet, or even just a friend. It was a testament to something profoundly, uniquely human. Rekel, watching from the observation post, could only stare. He saw the human, small and fragile, bathed in the protective shadow of a creature that should have torn them apart. He saw the deadliest predator nuzzle a human like a gentle giant. And he knew, with a certainty that chilled him to his core, that humanity had just fundamentally changed the galaxy. Sometimes, the universe needs a new light, not from a star, but from the radiant, blinding warmth of a human heart.